Dear soul, the angels are speaking softly to you today because something very important has shifted in the unseen. They want you to understand that last night was not just another night on the calendar. It was a sacred turning point, a moment when destiny itself quietly rearranged. You may not have heard a sound or seen a sign in the physical world, but in the spiritual world, something powerful happened. Your soulmate's path shifted. Their fate was touched by the hand of the divine. And this change matters more to you than you may realize right now. The angels explain that destiny does not always move with great noise or dramatic events. It often moves in the quiet hours, when a restless soul finally takes a breath it has been holding for too long, when the heart whispers truths it can no longer deny. Last night was such a moment for your soulmate. They may not even fully understand it themselves yet, but a door inside their spirit opened. A heaviness they carried began to lift. A confusion they had been drowning in began to clear. This was not random. It was a divine recalibration, a sacred adjustment that shifted their course toward truth. For a long time, your soulmate has been wandering in inner waters clouded by regret, fear, and uncertainty. They carried old baggage from the past, wounds that kept them guarded, and beliefs that love always had to come with pain or cost. These burdens kept them from embracing the depth of love they silently yearned for. But last night, the angels say, something softened inside them. They realized that they could not keep running from what their heart has always known. They could not keep sailing away from the love that has been waiting for them. It was not a grand awakening with trumpets and shouts. It was quiet, almost hidden, like a small flame flickering to life in the darkness. Yet that flame is real, and it changes everything. Your soulmate's higher self whispered a truth they could no longer avoid. There must be more than this. In that moment, they began to release the chains of fear, the patterns of avoidance, and the belief that love was dangerous. They began the journey back, not in steps of feet, but in steps of the heart. And this matters to you, dear one, because you have been carrying the weight of silence for a long time. You may have wondered if you were forgotten, if your love was just a memory to them, if there was still a place for you in their life. Their distance, their silence, and the walls they built may have left you questioning if you mattered at all. The angels want to wrap their wings around you now and tell you with certainty, you mattered then, you matter now, and you always will. Your soulmate could not meet you from a place of truth while they were still trapped in their shadows. They had to walk through their own valley of confusion, to face the darkness of their regrets, and to feel the emptiness of choices that led them away from love. But last night, they took the first step out of that valley. They have not arrived yet, but they chose movement. And sometimes the choice to move is the miracle itself. The angels want you to understand that soulmates are not only meant to bring joy, they are meant to mirror our growth, to challenge our old patterns, and to wake up the sleeping parts of our soul. Your soulmate struggles were never about not caring for you. They were about fighting their own fears of vulnerability, their own beliefs about what love should be, and their own inner wounds. Last night, they surrendered just enough to allow the light of truth to break through. What truth? The truth that you are not just a dream, not just someone from their past, not just a what if. You are the one their soul has always recognized. You are the anchor they once abandoned in search of distractions, only to realize that no distraction could replace the love they felt with you. In the silence of divine timing, their soul began to realign with yours. But the angels do not want you to cling to this with fear or impatience. They do not want you to wait in pain, watching the horizon for their arrival. Instead, they invite you to rest in the beauty of what is unfolding. Your soulmate is being guided by invisible hands of grace. Their boat is being steered by currents you cannot see. You do not need to chase them across uncertain waters. You only need to keep shining your light, so when they are ready, they will find their way back to the shore of your heart. That shore, dear child, is not a place of resentment or bitterness. The angels show it as a place of compassion, understanding, and open arms. You do not need to punish them or demand perfection. What matters is that their higher self has turned. They have stopped hiding from themselves. They have stopped running from you. Last night marked the beginning of their return, not to a past version of love, but to a deeper, truer love born out of growth and surrender. The angels remind you that this is not about rushing to a destination. It is about appreciating the miracle of movement. The fears that once held your soulmate captive are loosening their grip. The pain that once clouded their heart is beginning to dissolve. The divine has whispered to them, and though they may not yet have the words to explain it, their soul has chosen you again. You may still see hesitation in their actions. You may not see sudden changes on the surface, but underneath, the shift has already happened. The angels assure you that no soul can ignore the call of truth once it awakens. Even if they try to pretend, even if they bury it beneath routine, the seed of awakening has been planted, and that seed will grow. Why does this matter to you? Because it means your waiting was not in vain. Your prayers, your tears, your quiet faith, they were not wasted. They created ripples in the spiritual realm. They reached your soulmate in ways you could not see. The love you held so faithfully became a bridge that carried light into their heart. And last night, that light reached them. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that the connection you share is not a mistake or a burden. It is their path. The resistance they once felt is crumbling, not because someone persuaded them, but because their soul has remembered the truth. What you share is not ordinary. It was never meant to be. It was always meant to be extraordinary, guided by divine timing, and awakened by patience and love. The angels honor you today. They see the strength it took to believe when you felt invisible. They see the patience you held when others would have walked away. They see the love you carried even when you had no evidence it was reaching them. And now, they show you that your love has not been wasted. It has been sacred fuel for their awakening. Do not doubt yourself, dear heart. Do not think you were foolish for believing. Your intuition was right all along. What you felt was true. What you carried in your spirit was not an illusion. It was a soul truth. And now, slowly, gently, that truth is unfolding in the physical world. The angels whisper, breathe, rest, trust. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Love is not passing you by. The tide has turned, and it is bringing your soulmate closer to the truth they once resisted. You do not need to force this. You do not need to fear delays. What is meant for you is being prepared in the most careful, divine way. Your soulmate's fate changed last night because they finally surrendered to what their heart has always known, that you are their home. They may still stumble. They may still wrestle with fear. but their soul has turned back toward you. And once a soul makes that choice, there is no turning back. So hold this truth gently in your heart. Do not rush. Do not fear. Simply trust. The angels are guiding both of you. They are weaving a path that will bring clarity, healing, and union in time. And as you walk forward, remember this: love that is real cannot be lost. It can only be delayed until both souls are ready. And now, dear one, both of you are readying. The journey has begun, and love is finding its way home. Dear one, the angels speak gently to you today because they want your heart to rest in peace instead of worry. They ask you to keep holding space for your soulmate, but not with sadness or fear. Hold that space with joy, with calmness, and with the quiet trust that healing has already begun. You have not just been someone who loves deeply. You have been a guide, a light, and even a divine messenger in your soulmate's journey. Your love has been both their anchor and their compass. It has steadied them when they felt lost and pointed them toward truth when they could not find their way. The angels want you to know that something important shifted last night. As the night turned into dawn, your soulmate took a small but courageous step toward love. It was not a loud declaration or a dramatic action, but it was real. They began to walk toward you, not with perfect certainty, but with courage. Courage to believe that maybe, just maybe, they are worthy of a love that heals instead of hurts, that builds instead of destroys, and that stays instead of runs away. This change matters. The angels explain that the stars are aligning in ways you cannot yet see with your human eyes. Behind the scenes of life, destiny is moving, shaping, and arranging things so that the love between you and your soulmate can grow stronger. You may not see it yet, but it is happening. That is why the angels ask you to trust. Trust the timing. Trust the process. And most importantly, trust the love that has been guiding both of you all along. Your soulmate has not been walking alone. The angels have been walking beside them, whispering truths they are finally ready to hear. These are truths about love, about connection, and about destiny, truths they once tried to forget, but which never truly disappeared. Destiny always finds a way to return, and last night, it began to return for your soulmate. The angels speak with tenderness because they know how hard this waiting has been for you. They know the walls your soulmate has built around their heart, and how long you've stood outside those walls with quiet hope and unwavering love. Last night, something shifted within them. It was not loud, not visible to the world, but deep in the silence of their soul. A door creaked open ever so slightly, and though it seems small, it matters more than you may yet realize. For so long, your soulmate held on too tightly, not just to material things, not just to the life they had built, but to fear, fear of loss, fear of vulnerability, fear that love would bring more pain than peace. They clung to the illusion that they could only trust love if it came with guarantees. They held their heart as though love were a possession to protect, ration, and hide. But love does not thrive in cages. Love is not something to lock away. Love is not something to keep. It is something to become. And last night, their soul whispered this truth back to them for the first time in a long while. That whisper was the beginning of a powerful change. It marked the start of their healing, the start of surrender, the start of courage. You may have wondered many times why your soulmate seemed so distant, why they acted as if the connection you felt so strongly was not real to them. It hurt to give your heart so freely and see them retreat behind their walls, pretending not to feel what you both knew was there. The angels acknowledge your pain. They know how deeply it cut, but they also want you to understand that their withdrawal was not rejection, it was fear. Your soulmate feared that if they opened their heart too wide, they would lose themselves. They feared that vulnerability would strip away their pride, their stability, and their control. For a long time, they confused safety with distance, thinking that shutting you out was the only way to survive. But last night, something deeper stirred. A realization began to rise, not because anyone forced them, not because anyone convinced them, but because the soul can only resist truth for so long. And the truth is this: they miss you. They miss the warmth of your love. They miss the peace you brought them. They miss the feeling of being seen and accepted. They miss what they once pushed away. Last night, they began to see the emptiness in the things they had clung to. The routines that once gave them comfort now feel hollow. The isolation that once felt safe now feels cold. And your absence, the silence they thought they could handle, has grown into a loneliness they can no longer ignore. The angels showed that last night, as they sat with themselves, whether awake in the quiet darkness or dreaming in the still spaces of sleep. Something cracked open. A memory rose. A longing stirred. And suddenly, the fortress they built around their heart no longer felt like a sanctuary. It felt like a prison. Their fate has changed because they are no longer protecting themselves from love. Instead, they are beginning to protect their path toward love. That shift may seem small, but it is sacred, because when a soul that has lived in fear starts to turn toward surrender, healing begins. And that healing matters deeply to you. It matters because it means your soulmate is slowly becoming someone who can finally receive the love you have always wanted to give, not with resistance, not with walls, but with arms that dare to open and a heart that dares to hope again. The angels want you to know that you have been the lighthouse in their storm, even when they never said it, even when they pretended not to care. You were the light they returned to in their thoughts, in their dreams, in their hidden moments of longing. They may not have spoken it, but your love has been their steady guide. And now they are beginning to see that the world they tried to control will never feel like home without your presence. They are realizing that the soul cannot be silenced by logic, nor can it be satisfied with shallow comforts. Only love, only truth, only real connection will do. And they are moving toward that truth now, step by step, even if they are still scared. Last night was the night they began loosening their grip on the past. They stopped clutching so tightly to what was never meant to stay. And by loosening their hold, they made room for something new, something sacred, something true to enter. The angels now turn their attention to you. They ask you not to wait in pain, but to rest in trust. Trust that the soul remembers what the mind tries to forget. Trust that the seeds of love you planted long ago are blooming, even if you cannot see the garden yet. The changes may be invisible, but they are real. The choice to release fear and choose love was made last night, deep within your soulmate spirit. And that choice is the beginning of everything. So hold your heart gently, dear one. Your love has always mattered. Your light has always been seen, and your patience has not gone unnoticed. The one you love is on their way back, not because you chased, not because you pleaded, but because love itself called them. And at last, they began to listen. They are learning to let go of what does not serve them. They are learning to trust what they feel. They are learning to open their hands and heart to something real, to you. And in all of this, the angels are walking beside them, guiding each step, clearing the path, whispering truth into their spirit. Truths that say, you are ready, you are worthy, you can return to love. The angels are also holding you tenderly, for they know you have been carrying more than your heart was meant to hold. They know the questions you have whispered in the dark. They know the moments when you wondered if your love story was fading into silence. But last night, something sacred happened. Your soulmate finally began to face the weight of their sorrow, not by burying it deeper, but by feeling it. And in that feeling, they began to remember love. This is why the angels want you to rest in hope. They assure you the story is not over. The love you poured out has not been wasted. Your faith has not been unseen. Every prayer, every tear, every quiet act of love has created ripples in the spiritual realm. And last night, those ripples reached your soulmate. They are beginning to turn toward the light, and that light leads back to you. So trust, dear one. Trust the process. Trust the timing. And trust the love that has always connected you both. For healing is happening, even now, even if unseen. The angels whisper, hold on gently. You are not forgotten. You are the miracle.